The real truth about Dumaguete. Stay tuned, you're about to find out. A few months back, a lot of YouTubers are aware of all the drama that was going on in Dumaguete. And I live like in a drama-free world here, so that really bothered me quite a bit. I don't like to hear any of that stuff. And in fact, it bothered me to the point that I had called my friend Monty and I said, Monty, there's so much drama going on over there. I don't even know if I want to spend any time in Dumaguete. And he said, Roy, don't even listen to it. You know, that drama, that's all for YouTube views, and you'll find out it's really a wonderful place to be. And I said, well, you never lied to me, buddy, so we're coming. So this is how our story begins. We spent the first week in Cebu, and then we headed over to Dumaguete via ferry, so we went from Tagbilaran to Dumaguete. When I arrived in Tagbilaran, I posted on Facebook that we're now heading to Dumaguete. I immediately got a message from Janet, that's Mike's Philippine retirement, and she said, where are you right now? And I said, well, we're in Tagbilaran. She said, what are you doing? And I said, well, the boat's making a U-turn and we're heading to Dumaguete. I didn't think twice. I thought the suggestion was a little bit odd, but okay. And I just replied. About a minute and a half later, here comes big old Mike with a firm handshake and a warm smile. How are you, Roy? Great. And we visited a little bit, went over on the other side of the boat and visited Janet. And then, of course, we headed to Dumaguete. And when we arrived in Dumaguete, Mike literally filmed us coming off the boat so he could post that we arrived. I mean, that was really sweet of him. So we rented a car from Duty's rental car service. I'm putting a plug in for them because they're wonderful people. Roselle was in the parking lot waiting for us with our little car. Everything was wonderful. And then we got the car and headed up to Valencia. We had rented a little B&B there called A's Place. Very nice little place. It's cozy, but it suited the purposes, and we had a pool and of course our own jacuzzi on our balcony and a place to cook and 2 bathrooms and so forth. So it was very nice for what we paid. And the first evening there, Monty, Arigel, and Faith, we all went out to Sabaan for a local meal. That's in the square in Valencia. Great evening, just a nice, wonderful evening, kind of getting a feel for the area. And then the next day, Monty messaged me and he said, well, Faith would like to go swimming. Well, I said, come on over. So him and Arigel and Faith showed up, and here comes old dog Paul McGill and baby May, and well, we spent the day there just drinking coffee and chewing the fat. And then that evening we all went out to an Italian restaurant in Valencia together and had a nice evening. And so you're starting to get the gist of this. It's much more friendly than I had anticipated. From there, you know, we spent a few days just kind of checking out the local area. We stopped over at Local in Dauin, and well, we run into Jules from the Philippines, and Kevin Jackson, he has a channel, Too Much Time on His Hands, and chatted with them briefly, and met with some other friends of ours, Jim and Shine. They might be the only 2 people in that area that don't have a YouTube channel. It seems everyone else does. And so we were busy during the week, you know, looking at property, just to kind of get a lay of the land, so to speak. We spent a wonderful afternoon with Wilma and Greg. They have a channel called Building the Philippines. And we had followed them since inception of their channel when they started building their home. So, you know, you follow someone so long on YouTube, it's almost like you know them. So we had a great afternoon, and in fact, Greg had made a comment. He said, you wouldn't believe how nice that is, my shelving out by my dirty kitchen. And I said, Greg, I know where every tool that you have is on them shelves because I've watched you so long on YouTube. And we just started laughing because that's literally the truth. And so then Mike and Janet had invited us over one day for coffee, and we went over there and had coffee and cake, and just a nice afternoon. And so we're visiting people every day. We're checking out the local area, not doing much sightseeing, by the way, but just taking care of, I guess, our business there. And then Mike messaged me. It was right before the end of our trip there, and he said, Roy, why don't you come on out to the Sierra on Thursday? And I had wanted to go to the Sierra because we had been there once before. I wanted to see Justin and Judea, but they weren't available. They were gone on business. So I thought, well, that's a great thing. Of course, I messaged Monty and I said, we're going to the Sierra tomorrow if you want to go. And Monty says, fantastic. We should get a hold of Jim. So I messaged Jim. We did that. And so unbeknownst to me, when we got there, everybody that I know was there. Now, prior to that, we were in Cibulon, and we ran into Robert and his wife Bernadette. We were coming out of Joe's for dinner, and they were coming in, so we got to meet them and said our highs. And of course, they are Facebook friends of ours also, and we've chatted in the past. So that was a nice little get together there. And then, we went up to Tang Hai. We had some gifts for John Harper's little twins that are in the Philippines waiting for his return. So we stopped up there and spent a few hours visiting with the twins. And so on Thursday, we go to the Sierra. Well, when we walk into the Sierra, there's this really long table out front. It's really big. And at this table, it was everybody. Monty and his wife, and Mike and Janet, and Paul was there. Jim and Shine, Jules from the Philippines. Oh gosh, Robert and Bernsey, Robert Swift and Emmy, that's another sub-story I'll tell you about here. Greg and Wilma, of course, Justin and Judea. And Mark Thornton came with his beautiful wife. In fact, we ended up doing a video together with Mark. And I met a gentleman there that's going to retire in the Philippines. He's a college professor. And now we become Facebook friends, and we chat on occasion. And so it was just a wonderful afternoon. And then my friend Robert Swift, he was part of the John Harper story originally here in the United States, year and a half ago. And he was part of the Wisconsin support group for John. And so I chatted with Robert many, many times. And unbeknownst to me, because he had never told anyone, he's legally blind. And once he arrived in the Philippines, of course, that went around quick. My God, this guy's blind. And he literally, when we would go somewhere, I'd have to grab him by the arm and lead him because he can't see. But he paints, and he's got some disease that he can see about 1 foot. So he paints with a magnifying glass. And several months ago, he had posted a picture that his girlfriend had taken on Siquijor, and it was a beautiful picture. And I said, what a beautiful picture. And he responded within a minute and said, Roy, I'm painting that picture for you. Well, we were at the Sierra. He brought that picture along. It was wrapped in wrapping. He had a certificate of authenticity embossed in plastic for me. And, this is a kid that can't hardly see, and he doesn't have a lot of money. And he gave me such a warm gift. And I found that, literally to be amazing. And then during the week, we had went over to Jim and Shine's place for a couple different cookouts and just had a great time. Well, then the following day, we're leaving now. We're leaving Dumaguete. And we get to the ferry, and the ferry was sold out. They had so many cancellations that many, many people trying to get on the ferry. So we booked for the following day. So, of course, I got a hotel. I posted on Facebook, and I said, oh, boy, we're trapped in Dumaguete for the evening. How bad is that, And this Roselle and her husband that we rented the car from, they were such wonderful people. I had invited them to dinner that evening. So I get a message from Jim and Shine, they're coming down. And of course, right next door, there's a beer garden. So we, spent probably more time than we should have there. And then we all went out to North Point for the grand finale of our evening, of course. A nice dinner and some more drinks and wonderful time. Well, then the next morning, I wake up, and of course, I got a slight headache because we had so much fun. and I see a text from Monty. He's coming down to take us out to breakfast. So we did our breakfast thing and said our goodbyes to Monty, and we got on the boat and we left Dumaguete. But I know that so many people say so many negative things about Dumaguete, Valencia, Dauin, whatever it may be there, all that whole area, that there's too many vloggers, they're running out of content and they're hating each other. And I found out personally that's the farthest from the truth. I've never been in a place that I've been so warmly welcomed before as I was in Dumaguete by all of the vloggers and Facebook friends that we've accumulated through time. Everyone treated us with the utmost respect. They were absolutely wonderful. We felt like we had known them our whole life. In fact, after we left Dumaguete, we had then went to Leyte, and my wife's family lives in Leyte, so I had figured that would be the place that we really need to buy some land if we're going to build a home, because her family's there. And she kept telling me, honey, you know, Dauin is probably a really good place to build a home. I said, honey, this is for you. You know, it's not for me. She goes, honey, I know how happy you'd be there, and I would be too. And in the meantime, of course, my friend Jim is messaging me saying, Dauin is the greatest. You sure you don't want to be in Dauin? Don't make a mistake and don't build in Dauin. And he's sending many messages throughout the next week or two. And when we took it all in at the end of our vacation, it was like, there's no other place in the Philippines that I would rather be. The people are so warm and friendly. All of them, by the way, all of them. And I've just never been to a place that's that friendly with that many expats. Most of the time when you go somewhere, you see a few expats, and a lot of the times they're not so friendly. In fact, in Cebu City, we spent some time at a Yellow Mall and at the social, and I seen expats there every day. Not one of them would say hi or even wave at you, you know. It's not like the Dumaguete area. And everywhere we went, we were greeted with warm smiles and a good morning or afternoon and a handshake. We stopped in at Sideways and the same thing, spicy food, the Red Table, I mean, Apple Brewing Company. I mean, everywhere we went were expats with a warm smile and good morning, good afternoon, or where are you from, you know? And it felt like back in the days when I was still in the service. That was the first thing you asked another GI when you saw him, where are you from, you know? And so when we assessed our entire vacation when we came home, we said, you know, that is the place we're going to be. So don't buy into the scuttlebutt on the internet about Dumaguete being Dramaguete and how bad all these expats have made that area. Every expat that I've met in that area is in a definite improvement. And I'm sure when they leave, that area will be much better off than when they found it. So go there firsthand. See and feel what we did. And you know, if you like our channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And if you subscribe, send us a message. I'd love to say good morning, good afternoon, or just a plain old hello. And until next time, hope to see you soon. Bye.
Leaving this place, the sun's about to break. You're riding shotgun. The feeling with you.